Hello, and welcome to this video for all of you parents, especially moms out there who are sending their kids back to school. My name is Jenny King. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I am an aromatherapist and an AcuAroma therapist. That means I like to put essential oils, that plant spirit medicine, on Acupoint to help create an energy architecture, a structure, a way to work with our energy body outside of the treatment room, outside of the acupuncture treatment room. And these plants can really come into our field and help us dance with our beautiful selves even more. I love to help people connect back into the beauty of life and the rhythm and ritual of moving for this life as a way to kind of understand and organize our life experiences and to be witnessed in them. And so today, like I said, I'm going to talk about back to school, and I'm mostly talking to moms, but if you're a dad and your kids are going back to school and you like to use oils and acupoints, by all means, join us. It is not an exclusive club of kids going back to school. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to use rose oil on lung 7 Acupoint. And the oil and point actually informs us of what our practice is. So, that point where, you get everybody off to school and maybe you're in the car going to work, or you've come home and you're just like, oh my God, my house is a disaster. It needs to be cleaned, whatever. But there's that moment of like almost frozenness, and panic's not the right word, but there's this sort of like, what now? What now? And so bringing closure to sort of that, a little bit of maybe sadness of the kid going back to school, or kids, a little bit of like, I can't even think straight because I've been like putting all this energy into getting them there. And so let's get current. Let's acknowledge this transition in a way that we get to come back to ourselves. So we're using lung 7 Acupoint. It is the master point for the Sea of Yin, the conception vessel, which it starts with the perineum and runs down our center line. And this is really like our self-love, self-care vessel. It has, it's where all of our chakras live. All these points here are all about kind of like centering and nourishing. And so, this is like, we're going to help release any like grief that might be sitting up here in our lungs, throat, upper chest, because we are using a lung 7 point. Lung 7 is still in the lungs, and that comes up here, and the lungs need to open and descend. And once we can kind of open and descend the energy, which is kind of the first action that happens when you use lung 7, then things can start to center, and you can come back into center line and be nourished. This conception vessel is the Sea of Yin. Yin is our nourishment and our container, and where we find our juiciness. And it's, it helps us really kind of be nourished and plumped up in a way. And, in a world that seeks to like constantly have us always giving out, sometimes we don't even know how to come back in. And so what I'm offering up to you today is a way to show you, because, and I am telling you, like, you're going to hear these words and I'm going to tell you what to do, but it's really the oil and the acupoint. If you get quiet and you listen, they actually show you what this feels like. I'm a thinker. I love to like think about concepts and things and stuff like that, but it really isn't until either I lie down and someone else does something to me where I go back into my body, or I go into an experience where someone else leads me through it, where I can, kind of step into that space. Or in this case, the oil and the acupoint are actually going to show you, they're going to lead you home. They're going to give you that action if you sit and listen and get, just curious about what's happening. And so let's grab our oil, and I'm using rose. I've experimented with a lot of different oils, and I'll give you a couple options at the end. But what I found was that rose, with its sweet, it's like, it is a very nourishing oil. I feel like it's very, it kind of brings back fluidity, or it has this plumping up aspect of, we can often use it like as a cream or something where it brings back moisture. And if you think moisture is really that, like, sort of, if we're running around you probably know what it feels to feel like dry and brittle, right? And so we're kind of bringing some moisture back into our soul, of like plumping us up. And so there is also this aspect of Mother Mary or Kuan Yin or Green Tara. Like I think that this oil taps into all those sort of compassionate grace sort of energies. And if anybody needs compassionate grace, then it's a mom. Because, you know, we're running around and there are a million ways to fail. And so, you know, sometimes we need to remember that we're not failing. We're not failing. We're doing the absolute best we can. And to like that self-love, that self-nourishment, that self like compassion is really bringing ourselves home and acknowledging where we are right here and right now. And so the rose really just kind of brings you home and has that acknowledgement and just kind of holds you, holds your heart, holds your center in a really sweet, gentle way. And so without further ado, I'm going to take my rose oil and I'm just going to set it right on my lung 7 acupoint. One drop. And this point is actually, if you draw a line from your index finger, and really it's like if you find that bump on the thumb side and you go up and there's a hollow right above that bump, that's pretty much where lung 7 is. And you can I just drop the oil right in that point, and it's a big enough space. Once you drop the oil in, the oil will kind of spread around there a little bit, and I just set my other one right on top and I hang out, real light touch. And usually I do like to smell the oil first because that's that first wave of awareness and the hello to the actual oil and plant spirit. And then just setting the real light touch down with a lung 7 to lung 7, reminding myself to relax my shoulders, relax my jaw, and take a nice deep breath. So like I said before, the first action that you really can tap into when you do this oil and point is that sort of, it's a releasing action. Again, it's that it goes up kind of into the lung and throat area so that things can start to lift off, because we walk around braced all day long. So it clears, you know, when you're busy and you're taking care of everybody else, it kind of clears off some of that bracing energy and any grief of just the transition. Helping you let go. And once that energy starts to move, it can move up and out. You can start to feel yourself descend and come back in your body. And then slowly start to shift and change to come back into the center line. You can feel yourself sort of line up on that central axis. I'm not going to hold too long, but you could stay as long as you'd like. And even afterwards, giving yourself a few minutes to not rush right back into the next thing. And just, again, it's just a tiny ritual to acknowledge and witness yourself in this moment of transition, and a way to bring in compassion and love and grace, and acknowledge this movement into the new school year. And then I'm always going to offer you some alternatives to the rose. And so if you want to move more into the lung action, if you're feeling more grief, or more like just kind of up and really need to kind of move that lung energy, you can use Saro. Is a really nice, and it still has some of that sweetness, so it'll give you a little bit of that sweetness, because sweetness is like the nourishment is sweetness. And so that'll give you a little bit of that, but it'll still give you that action. You can use Cypress is another really nice one. Will also kind of move, it's a little bit stronger. It has a little bit more of a yang masculine feel to it, but it will move that energy and it will bring you into your center. It's a tree, so it helps you come into your center line in a very different, more solid sort of way. And it's, you know, so if you're feeling a little bit more grief, you could do that. And then if you don't have rose, you could use Helichrysum. And again, another sweet flower. And that one has more of a, that one's more of like maybe even like a deeper mother wound sort of issue. I've been finding that's a really nice one for wounded healers and mother wounds and stuff like that. It's a really nice oil to really kind of acknowledge it and help some of that old patterning start to heal. So I know this is a lot. The topic seems really simple, back to school, and it is, and it's always much bigger. You know, we live these lives where we have individual and collective experiences. So I'm acknowledging this collective experience, and which oil you put on this point is kind of how you tune and make it individual, and you can do whichever one calls to you. I've also done where I put Saro on one side and rose on the other, and I've actually mixed, like they come together, a little kiss when I bring my lung sevenths together, which is kind of fun. Or you could try it with Cypress and rose, both very like ancient oils that have been working with humans for a long time, and so they can, you know, come together and they will know what to do and guide your energy of like a more like that, really that grief, and also bringing back in the beauty, right? So, all right, I hope that this information, this video serve you, and if you have any questions or want to share with me, you can just comment or send me an email at redbirdha@gmail.com. And again, I'm Jenny King. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and my business is Redbird Healing Arts, acupuncture and healing arts. So, all right, so much love, my heart to yours. Mwah.